Oh my, how times change, don't they, people? So many memories coming up today, so I just had to stop, take a break, and share. It's funny, on some days things about the past come up, and really, like, I don't know. The first thing this morning is, I've been listening to some of my old music from my old band and stuff, and I looked up on my mantle today, and kind of behind the little the mantelpiece, there's like a little crack back there, and I pulled this drumstick out of there, and it's a piece of let's see, what is this, walnut, or I think it's either walnut or mahogany. Back when I was doing a lot of Finnish carpentry, when I had all my tools set up, I would make handmade drumsticks for like my drummer and my band. I only made a couple pairs. This is one of the survivors. I made a really nice pair of mahogany ones, kind of as decoration for our drummer. He went to play once and it just broke. But learning to work with the grain is important. Anyway, these things take me back, finding objects that remind you of your youth. And I was always the kind of guy who liked to save a lot of stuff. I'm not a hoarder, but I am a pack rat. But only when it comes to things that really bring back a lot of memories, and all the things that, like, it's funny, somebody commented on, they asked me where I get my clothes the other day. I was wearing this weird old vintage vest. It's this leather vest, that vest belonged to my brother's friend, who in turn got it from his dad, who was a musician, and he played in like a Mexican style band. I'm not sure exactly if they still play or not, but anyway, it was one of those things where the rest of the people, the rest of my friends, they weren't too big on saving things, like, in other words, I took the vest because it was just kind of floating around, and I said, well, I know one day it's going to mean something to somebody, and so I hang on to all these strange little things. Now, of course, this is leading up to something. Some of the things that remind us of our past, they can't always be held on to. They are things that are just ideas or thoughts that you and a friend might have had, like inside jokes. And when you come together and you and someone can relate on a certain level. And so I'm out here working, and I got my headphones on, and I'm listening to my Zune. It's my old Zune, and back then I recorded a bunch of, I don't know, when I got it, like, whatever, 10 years ago, it's pretty much got the same music on it that I uploaded then. And during that time, I was going through my old tapes, and I found a bunch of old tapes of my friends and I. We used to record ourselves tripping on LSD, and it was, I went back to this was about, let's say, 1990 or so, and this recording came on, and my friend and I that's what inspired me to make this video. It was something that, without having that recording, I would not remember the past. I would not remember some of those detailed, funny things that make us who we are. We were all dorks. That's what I'm kind of getting to. Every one of you out there who, people, as we age, we tend to think that we're cooler, or we fit in better with certain groups, or that we have a better understanding of life. And it's not an ego thing. It's just that we look back usually on our personal past life and think that we were less mature back then. And we were. That's because we were. But sometimes we think we were overly mature for our age. And going back and listening to this recording of us, totally wasted in my garage. I lived in this garage, we called it the garage hole. And I decided to, we took half of the garage, partitioned it into like a room. And when we discovered psychedelics, we would take LSD. Back then we hadn't even heard of mushrooms really yet. Acid was everywhere. So we would take, relatively large doses and sit back and laugh all night and record ourselves. And all I had was a boombox. And this is one of the things, anybody who grew up, of course, in the 70s knows you could record yourself on an 8-track or a 4-track or a reel-to-reel type, tape. But most people don't just have those set up. And once boomboxes became popular, it was really easy to go out and buy a recording tape, just pop it in there and hit record. And most boomboxes had a room recording, microphone on it. which today just seems like nothing. Every cell phone has a device on it, which is what makes those recordings so much more precious. I went through and I still have all my old tapes, and some of them are recorded over like other tapes, so I didn't realize, I thought, oh, maybe this is Red Hot Chili Peppers. You pop it in and it's a bunch of people sitting around in a room laughing about penises or or making racial slurs or whatever, just things that we might have done as kids not even knowing better, just thinking we were being funny, trying to make each other laugh. And just looking back at it, it's a very precious thing. I look at YouTube very similarly in the way that I can look back on a video I did 2 or 3 years ago and think, wow, I have really either come a long way or gone a long way the other way. It's not always a good thing. In other words, sometimes we change and it's not for the better. We tend to have, ideas that are not so great that we carry as adults, and we forget what it was like to just have that free-flowing, free-thinking, youthful mind. But we shouldn't have the illusion that it was better to be young. I'm much happier being older and more mature, and being able to look back at the memories that I do and having those moments that I can say, that was fun, but I'm glad I'm not still, that ignorant. The reason it comes up is because it's really hard to determine how mature we were as individuals when we were young. You can hear from family or friends, or you may have a view of what it was like to be a kid. Some people were forced to grow up faster and whatnot. But some of the ideas that we had that we may not have even realized. I guess I have these tattoos on my leg here, and I was looking, and it's several different symbols. I guess I'm not going to try to explain it. But down here there's a bunch of, like the symbol for, well, you can take it however you want. The directions, the earth, this would be the sun or gold. And it also has my birth sign on it. At the same time, my friend did his, and he's a Scorpio. He's a Scorpio and I'm a Sagittarius, and his symbol's similar to mine, so we did like a combined symbol tattoo for, both of our birth dates as being friends. But I was asking myself why was I even interested in these things? Where did I come up with these symbols? What kind of stuff was I reading? And the tattoos I have are kind of like the notebook of my early years, and a lot of people just, I don't know. This is one that most people probably don't even know I have, because I don't really show my hands or anything, but hate. I'm trying to get it to focus here. There we go. Hate. Yep, got it right across my knuckles. And focus camera. There we go. Anyway, I've asked myself in the past why I did it, and my friend did the same tattoo at the same time, and both of us regretted it, of course. He tattooed over his and made it look like something else, and I just said, I'm going to live with this. This is a part of my history. So hate on my fist is like having, it's like having a part of me that I have to be reminded of. And I was never an angry person. I was never I was never a violent person or a hateful person. I've always been a peaceful person. It's just during the time I did it was right after my father had died of cancer. So looking back, I can see that I wasn't mad at people. I didn't hate. I was frustrated. Oh, I was pissed off at the world. How dare you take my dad? And being able to realize that now, it's something that helps me to continue growing. And so having all these old memories of the past, sometimes it's better to gloss over them, I guess, and pretend like there's something different, maybe. But when you listen to a direct recording, or you have an object to hang on to that really reminds you over time in your life, that's okay. It's okay to not have to let go of everything, because ultimately our past makes us who we are today. And, we can try to better ourselves, and we can try to deny our roots, but I think understanding those roots and really why we desire the things we do, why we see certain things as important in life, is very crucial to our development. You know, I have to ask myself consistently, what is it I'm really after in life and why? You know, or what kind of questions do I have my own, you know, conclusions for, or my own answers for, and what led me to believe that? So, anyway, the past is the past, right? But it ultimately dictates who we are now, and the future is yet to come. So, those are just some thoughts for the morning. I better get back to working or I'll just end up making videos all day.